In today's video, I'm going to be building a Bloxburg ship in only 24 hours. Now normally building a Bloxburg ship would take months to complete, but not today. Also real quick, I'm selling signed TSS Pelagic posters and there's only 25 of them, so if you really want one, join my Discord server and I'll announce when they're dropping. It's the best way to support me as a small creator. Alright, shameless advertisement over, let's get straight into this video. Now I ended up live streaming about 8 hours of this, so that's why some of the footage has facecam and some of it doesn't. The first step to building any Bloxburg ship is to mark out the plot and start planning the hull, but before I could get building, I first needed to decide on a reference. Now for my exterior, I decided to base it off the MS Kungsholm, a Swedish-American liner from the 1960s, and I already know I'm gonna get comments about my atrocious pronunciation of Kungsholm. Now I'm mostly known for my Art Deco builds, but the 1960s was an era of mid-century design and modernist architecture, so it would definitely be a challenge doing a style I haven't really played around with much, and especially on a vessel I only have 24 hours to complete. But I love pushing the limits of Bloxburg and myself, so I'm gonna do it anyway. So I decided to get started right away and I planned out my hull. I wanted to do a really nice curved bridge front, but it was definitely taking a while and I was getting a bit worried that I wasn't going to get it done in time, but I wanted to make sure the exterior looked good for the thumbnail, and well, you're watching this video, so I must have done a pretty alright job. Even if I did completely destroy the bow section moments later and completely redid it, but we'll just look past that. I do think it was a good idea and I did end up much preferring the new bridge front, but I was already 2 hours in at this point. Some of the people watching the stream made themselves pretty comfortable on picnic blankets out front of my new liner, watching me building games I was live streaming, which was pretty funny. Although, around the 3-hour mark, I did get a little bit distracted and ended up talking about an old LEGO Titanic mock, and I even got my highest stream donation ever, which was pretty wholesome. $10 donation from Penguino. LEGO Titanic be hitting hard. Dude, thank you so much. That's the largest donation I've ever gotten. Overall, the livestream was a success, and we had some really cool people join the call on the live, including Brickships1912, who wouldn't listen to me when I asked him to download a 12 yottabyte zip bomb. A big disappointment.
There's no fixing it.
Download a 12 yottabyte zip bomb, trust me, just Google it.
Oh god.
That's a big file.
Do not do that.
Honestly, all of us had a really great conversation, so if you want to listen to a bunch of virtual shipbuilders yap for 5 hours straight, I'll leave a link to the stream in the description. I continued to work on the bridge front for a good while until I was happy with it, which did take a while because of the Kungsholm's slightly angled tiered bridge front, but I think I did fairly well for the time I spent on it. By around the 4.5 hour mark, I finally decided to start working on the stern, and I think it turned out alright. It obviously doesn't compare to sterns like the TSS Pelagic or even on the SS Tortilla, but I was still happy with it. And after 5 hours and 20 minutes, I stopped streaming to go eat dinner. Okay, so for the past, 4 hours, I was recording a black screen with no audio, so this is what I've done in that time, but I'm about to pass away because of that. After that massive loss of footage, I was pretty annoyed, but I had no time to sulk about it as I was already 9 hours in and I hadn't started my interior at all yet. Then, I messed around with the bridge front a bit more, and then went to work on the promenade deck. I decided to do a Handris Lines-esque lifeboat promenade, which reminded me of the Romanza and similar 1960s Handris liners. I think I did an alright job with the promenade, and I think it added a lot to the exterior in terms of shape, as the vessel was looking a bit blocky. And just to clarify any confusion, it's spelt Chandris Lines, but it's pronounced Handris Line, as it's Greek. Then I did the lifeboats with 2 spheres and some other shapes, and I think it turned out pretty well. Then, I decided to add some bollards and other deck equipment as a nice little exterior detail. Now, none of my scaled vessels have portholes in the hull, and this is because their hulls are black, but on this vessel, I wanted a white hull, and it looked really blank, so I decided to add some portholes to the hull. This would prove easier said than done, as positioning them perfectly in line was a bit of a pain, but it didn't really take me that long. At this point, I was fairly happy with the exterior, and after adding a few more small details like another mast and some more windows, I was ready to call the exterior complete. The first step to interior work is the floor plan, and for this vessel, I wanted to have a reception room with a grand staircase, a lounge, a dining room, and a small promenade space, and I planned to add a few cabins at the end if I had time. After I finished my floor plan, I started to work on my first interior space, which was the dining room, and at this point I was around 14 hours in. But for some reason, OBS Studio really didn't want to work for me, and for some reason it stopped recording 5 minutes into building my dining room, and once I realized this, I was devastated. I did manage to get a little bit of my footage back from building the dining room, but everything else was gone, including the footage of me building the reception room. The dining room was based off the Queen Elizabeth II, a famous Cunard liner, and I think it translated especially well to Bloxburg. I was super happy with how it turned out, and I think it looks really nice, especially for the amount of time I spent on it. I think the QE2 style pillars looked really good here, but I did get a few people telling me that my portholes looked a bit like aeroplane windows, which is definitely fair enough. The portholes were also based off the QE2, but I think I flared them a bit too much looking back. Regardless, it was a great start to the interior of my ship, however at this point it was about midnight. Alright, so it is currently just on midnight, as you can see. I just finished the dining room, which I'm very happy with it. So I'm whispering because again it is midnight, my family's asleep, so I am very, very happy with this right now. It's almost like Superliner-esque, but it is in a pretty small vessel. So, well, the actual interior will be small. I'm probably only going to do a lounge and reception room and the grand staircase. In the morning, I will probably do the rest of everything. So, yeah, I'll get back to you just before I head to bed.
If you remember what I said before, I lost the footage of me building the reception room, so ignore the fact I'm playing footage of the dining room here. The reception room took me about an hour to make, so it just skipped to right before I went to sleep, which is where I realized my recording blunder.
So I was just about to go to bed, and I just realized that I was not actually recording. So that was great. I just lost about 5 hours of footage. No, maybe like 2 hours of footage. So all my interior work so far I just have no footage of, which is amazing, but it is currently 12:53, and I'm gonna head to bed probably until about 5 a.m, maybe 5:30. I'm gonna do the grand staircase, which is gonna suck, and I'm also gonna do the lounge, maybe a smoking room if I get time, but yeah, so I'm gonna head to bed.
So before I play this next clip, just for a bit of context, I think my plunge into the River Murray might have screwed up my camera's microphone, so yeah.
About 1 a.m. right now, so I'm about to go to bed, so I'll see you guys in the morning. Okay, it's 7:30 because I missed the alarm, and this is just when I woke up, so that's not good. So it's, yeah, I have like not as much time as I thought I would, and I gotta do the dining room, I gotta do the staircase, and I gotta do probably a smoking room too, so I might be cooked.
Despite everything that happened, I didn't waste any time and started on my staircase right away. Custom staircases are definitely annoying, but this one was based off a pre-built staircase, so it didn't take me too long to do, but it still took a while. And because I woke up late, I was technically 19 hours in. Then I realized I needed to make the entire thing again, but mirrored, which is just great. Even though I slept for a while, I still wasn't all there, and I actually thought I only needed one side of the staircase for a good while. Even though it was a small area, I was fairly happy with it, even if it was a bit rushed. It was a tad squishy with all the chairs and the center table, but I think it was worth it. But overall, I was pretty happy with my interior so far, but I was starting to run out of money. I planned to stream the last 2 hours when I was building the lounge, so I decided to work until it was time for the live stream.
Hello everyone, welcome to the second half of today's stream. So we're currently at hour 22, we've got 2 hours left, and I basically have to do the entire lounge.
And I had no time to waste, so I asked my chat what ship's lounge I should base this off, and after a few minutes we settled on the SS America's smoking room. It's a large, almost circular room with a really nice circular carpet with a bar and plenty of seats. Only for my liner, I replaced the bar with a stage and added some additional seating to the room. I added a small funnel casing to the back wall just to add some more shape to the room and complement the rounded corners I did in the front wall of the lounge. The carpet was definitely a lot of fun to create, and it's a technique I've used many times in the past, even if it can be a bit awkward. Now I wanted to do something pretty cool for the ceiling, and I had around an hour left to do so. I decided to take some more inspiration from the Star Wars-esque lights of the Queen Elizabeth II, and made what I think is a pretty cool ceiling and lighting feature. I decided to round the corners of the lighting feature, which I think was a great idea and really helped the lights fit into the fairly shapely lounge. Then I added some plants and some further details. Remember when I said the carpet technique I used could be a bit awkward at times? This is because it uses shapes on their side, meaning you can't place things like chairs or tables on them. So to counteract this, I added small shapes to the tables for the chairs to be placed onto. Otherwise, the table just wouldn't have chairs. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a very smart idea when it comes to designing a lounge. After all my years of ocean liner research, I've come to find most ocean liner lounges do in fact have seats. Then, I finished off the room with some further details to the stage and added some guitars to it and even a place for a nice painting. And with that, my interior was completed, but I still had about 2 minutes left and my chat told me to add bridge wings, and I even managed to add a few more parts of deck equipment before my 24 hours was up.
That, and it's 12. It's 12 o'clock. I repeat, it's 12 o'clock. The ship is officially done.
But we couldn't celebrate just yet because it was time to decide on the name for the 24-hour liner. And after some chaos, the name MS Camaraderie was voted as the winner, which was suggested by Azamir Ezomaza. Hold on. Azamir Uramiza. Sorry if I butchered that. But it wasn't just a name for the ship we needed, it was also the Port of Registry, which came down to a very close vote between Alice Springs, which is a city in Australia whose citizens have never seen water before in their lives, or a ship for that matter, or phenomicroscopic siliconeconiosis, which is the longest word in the English language that's recognized by dictionaries. The vote ended at a narrow 7% victory for pheno-ultramicroscopic siliconeconiosis.
Okay, this is me editing, and I realized I pronounced it pheno, but it's actually pneumono-ultramicroscopic siliconeconiosis. But I cannot be bothered re-recording, so just forgive me, please. Don't make fun of me in the comments.
I put up the decals and even a flag at the bow sporting the Sun Valley logo at the request of the chat before we finally entered the vessel to reveal what I've been working on for the past 24 hours of my life.
Oh my goodness, that was painful. We're over 8 minutes, so I can get mid-roll ads. Yippee!
But without any further ado, it's time to reveal the Bloxburg Ocean liner I built in 24 hours.